Hello, Wildlife Diversity Program Managers. Thank you so much for taking a bit of your time here at your meeting this week to learn about the Relevancy Roadmap and the Conservation Relevancy community. My name is Lindsay Martinez, and today I'm going to be telling you a bit about two online resources for working on conservation relevancy that I've been working on with AFWA and the Wildlife Management Institute over about the last year. So without further ado, I'm going to walk you through some of our new online resources to help you implement the Relevancy Roadmap and connect with the relevancy community. So, as you may have heard from the Wildlife Management Institute or other news sources, there's a new website for the fish to house the Fish and Wildlife Relevancy Roadmap. There's also a conservation relevancy community to help different practitioners communicate about their work. So first, I want to show you the Fish and Wildlife Relevancy Roadmap website. It's called relevancyroadmap.squarespace.com. And this site houses everything that you know from the Relevancy Roadmap. And it's in a nice, searchable, and engaging format, a little bit different than that 135-page PDF of the roadmap you might have seen before. And on this new site, you have access to all 5 areas of relevancy detailed in the roadmap, everything from agency culture to political and legal constraints. On this site, you can search different categories. You can click through some overarching brief descriptions of each category to look at different barriers to relevancy. And you can go into each barrier specifically to look at strategies, steps, and tactics to overcoming that barrier and increasing relevancy. On the site, you'll also find agency success stories, photos, and even in some cases, other readings to help you with your relevancy efforts. So I encourage you to go to relevancyroadmap.squarespace.com to access the full text of the Relevancy Roadmap and figure out how this roadmap can help you increase relevancy with your organization, your agency. Now, the roadmap is there and it is ready for people to be implementing it. And we need to communicate about those relevancy roadmap efforts that we're doing. And that's why we created this conservation relevancy community. You can find it at conservation-relevancy-community.mn.co. And what this site is, we'll go to the about right here, is a community to learn about and share efforts to enhance conservation through broader constituent engagement, right? The community, it provides a space to access different resources related to relevancy, to share our success stories and maybe our challenges as we're working on relevancy projects. It's a place to ask questions, provide or ask for feedback, and overall learn more about conservation relevancy efforts. This site is really here to help us know what projects are going on around the country, to understand what works and what doesn't work, to give each other feedback, and really just enhance implementation of the relevancy roadmap. This site already has over 200 or close to 200 members, even though it was just created a few months ago. And it has folks from non-governmental organizations, state and federal agencies. It has businesses, academic organizations, etc. And we're covering almost every US state. What we're trying to do here is create a really diverse community that contains all the folks who are working on conservation relevancy around the country, and we'd love to have you join too to let us know what you're working on with relevancy so we can gauge what projects are out there and how we can replicate the ones that work and learn from the ones that we have a hard time with. So on this site, it's sort of like a social media type of site where we have a news feed where folks post different things going on with relevancy. On our site, we have different topics. We've got basic information that'll help you learn more about the relevancy roadmap and implement it. We've got a catalog here of different projects from our relevancy roadmap pilot states. They're giving us updates here on what's happening in 2021, and they did video interviews previously to tell us what they're working on with their Wildlife Management Institute grants to implement the relevancy roadmap and to get it going. Our topics also include different videos, trainings, podcasts, etc., to help you know how to use the relevancy roadmap. We're asking folks to share their work examples from what what they do with relevancy in their state, whether it be surveys, communications projects, volunteer opportunities, whatever there is. Share it with the community so we know what's out there and what works, and can get feedback from each other. This site also has places to share articles and different literature from diversity, equity, inclusion, human resources, or other areas, human dimensions. And all of this, we're asking the community to share these resources with other folks working on relevancy so we all know more and can do better work and really enhance conservation through broader engagement. And then finally, on our conservation relevancy site right here, we have a space for different agencies to ask for help on relevancy if they need some product or service, say a marketing organization or an organization that might provide some survey help. So we're trying to collect information from folks who can help out agencies and allow people to ask for the things that they need. If you check out our homepage here, you can see that there's a big diversity of information coming on our community site. We're learning about pilot states, different projects from different states. We share different events that are related to relevancy here, different news articles and other work examples. So this is a great place to be able to connect with other people in the conservation relevancy world who are working on similar projects, ask for help, see what's going on, and ultimately enhance your own efforts. And then finally, this resource that we have, the community also allows us to have little sub networks or sub communities, say folks working on diversity, equity, inclusion, or people from the pilot states, folks who wrote the relevancy roadmap. And this is just another channel for communications that we can use on this site. If there's any type of group that you're looking to connect with online here, whether it's folks from a certain region, human dimension specialists, non-game biologists, whatever works for you. If you need a place to communicate with those folks on these little sub networks where you can chat, this is a great opportunity and great resource for you. So ultimately, why would we like you to join this community today? Well, relevancy, not every state has to go at it alone. We can share what we're successful on and try to replicate those successes. And we don't need to reinvent the wheel with every relevancy project. We can share what's working to motivate and inspire and help others. And ultimately, we want this site to be a really interactive and engaging place where we are keeping tabs on all the relevancy projects happening throughout the country. So I would love to have you join our community today. Get on, tell us what you do, what kind of projects you work on with relevancy, what kind of events you see, or feedback you can give or you'd like to have related to conservation relevancy and the relevancy roadmap. So again, you can join us at conservation-relevancy-community.mn.co, and you can access everything from the Fish and Wildlife relevancy roadmap that'll get you ready to work on projects and share them with the community right here at relevancyroadmap.squarespace.com. Please let us know if you have any questions, and we're so excited to see you on the site.